Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Welcome, everyone. Afternoon. Good afternoon. After lunch, hope you will not sleep because this is always the risk after lunch. So yes, I have a pleasure to introduce you to the product domain session. We will be free of presenters. So myself, representing also product domain and Polish chapter of buildingSMART. Sotiria Asaridou, associate BIM consultant from Tilka Advisors. And Petr Vokun, who is also buildingSMART Czech Republic chapter, and he will join us in a couple of minutes as he needs to split his time and energy also for the technical session ongoing in the same time. The title today is about leveraging AI for the DPP. I think we introduced on the last summit with Hansueli and with Peter a digital product passport. And we also promised you that we will be working on this topic. And this is also our topics for product domain. And I think Anna, our chair from building product domain steering committee, will also talk about this tomorrow, if I remember well. So maybe just that you know us, I think it's always good to do the communication and also sharing who we are. So you see all of the people working in the product domain. And I think this is important because product domain seems to be one of the domains developing itself better and better. And we have the conference in Zurich of the leaders of the domains, and we discussed the digital product passport become very important for our community of buildingSMART International. That's why we are really focusing our effort, energy, and knowledge to work on this topic. So Magda Pyszkowski, I'm already presented myself yesterday, but just to say that I think for me it was always passion, the data and the connection between all of the stakeholders, and that's why we are here today. Okay, as we are talking about AI, I use also AI to propose the new slide, and this is I think something which is important to understand, because for me it's important that if we develop something, it's always connected to the regulation. Because we talk about product domain. Products are under different regulation, construction product regulation. I told you about this last time, but there is something which is new in the regulation, which is still discussed. It's not already valid. It's under discussion on the European level. It's Industrial Accelerator Act. So it was a new proposal, I think in April or June. But which is saying that we'll be reinforcing the product made in Europe. And it's reinforcing the identity of the products, of the digital product passport. It means that this digital product passport is really something that we need to work and consider for our community, as I said. It will be connected to the condition how to access how the product can access the market, and it's connected to the compliance. And this is very, very important, especially as we discussed today about the data flow and the compliance of the data. So as a reminder, I think this is important to understand, to know this history. 2025, new construction product regulation came into force, and starting from 26, we have the first delegated acts, which are really focusing on the performance of the product in terms of the environment, and the new introduction of the new performance indicator will come in the coming years. So climate change indicators, additional environmental metrics, and sustainability parameters. What we see that this is also the priority from the different product and materials. And this is a focus on the high impact materials on the beginning, like cement, steel, aluminum, but then we'll touch other products like insulation pipes, timber, whatever. That's why we need to really be always up to date and work on this or deliver data of the product for the digital product passport. Also, as a reminder, what will be the content of digital product passport is declaration of performance, which will become declaration of performance and conformity. All of the general product information that we have already, technical documentation, other documentation required under other union law, data carriers, label, if applicable, and different identifiers, unique identifiers. And I think we have already some session also talking about these unique identifiers. This is very important because we need to provide the continuity and do the source of the data in the future as well. So I think, and this is what we are all claiming as a digital product passport with product domain, that digital product passport must be somehow included in the workflow of buildingSMART standards and interoperability, because and I think mentioned yesterday, I mentioned, we have the semantic foundation, we have the collaborative hub in terms of the common data environment, we have all of the exchange framework. So somehow we need to use this as an opportunity to include manufacturers and product data into this process, which is not a case today. I was this morning on the discussion also about the continuity of the data with the software vendor providers, and somehow I still see that that product data, it's maybe or manufacturers are not considered as a part of the stakeholders that we should discuss from the beginning. And that was the promise always of the building information modeling, that we will do the best design ever. Somehow we need to consider this from the beginning as well. So this is just a slide saying that the digital product passport is relevant for the BSI community in terms of the design, construction, operation, and maintenance. And I think you can recognize yourself. I will not do the presentation, what is inside of the process, because you know this by heart. But I think this is something which is quite new maybe for the manufacturers. So maybe this is also the role of the buildingSMART community, also to discuss with the manufacturers, with product manufacturers, and also explain what are the information needed on which stage, what we expect from them, how we want to make them structure the data. This is, I think, something that we should consider as our homework, let's say, and maybe some kind of the recommendation, because this is the only way how we can digitalize this together. And this is just this slide to say you that I think digital product passport must be included really from the early beginning. And this is what we also claiming as a product domain, that we will be happy to discuss with you and to maybe to do some common projects, how we can experiment the integration of the digital product passport. Digital product passport, if nothing else, is the data template. This data template is essential characteristic of the products plus additional characteristic of the products. And this additional characteristic could be related to the BIM uses. So I think there is something, opportunity also how we can work on this together. And the second opportunity is that it couldn't be only the project with product domain. It must be somehow collaboration between the different domains, and maybe with the stakeholders who are not part of the domains, but just coming here to the buildingSMART summit to learn. I think there is some kind of unique opportunity to do the things together. And because the topic was AI, I will come back to these topics. We started also experiment if how we can use AI today for future digital product passport and for future integration of the data in the process. And I think this will be something that we will show you a couple of examples with Sotiria, and she will guide you with some demonstration on the topic.
Thank you very much, Magda. Here is the thing. The digital product passport is here to change everything on how we perceive data, how we use it, and how it moves around the building life cycle. The problem is that with all this all the manual stuff that we do in order to integrate this data, when the digital product passport actually comes, if we take this much time to use all the data and put it into one digital product passport, the time we're going to need to do that is going to be right before my retirement party. And I would like to see much more structures and infrastructure being built before that time. So today, we're going to talk about how we can use AI, which is a pretty much new trend coming into the industry, effectively and in the correct way, to help automate some processes in order for us to have more time to be creative and be more effective. The problem today is that we have lots of data. When we ask for data from the manufacturer, we get a very nice glossy PDF that has any piece of information someone could be looking for. The problem is that when we're talking about large construction, we might not have one or two products, we have tons of products. And when we're looking for this information, it's gonna take a long time for us to find this information. And especially since we're human and we're prone to mistakes, it is very likely that we're gonna do some mistake in the process when we copy and paste the data. So we need additional resources for that. For the computer, the situation is much worse. A computer is not able to identify and understand the data when it's in a PDF form. It is just a trap for data. Everything is hidden inside tables, inside the graphics that every manufacturer is having in their own documentation. So all the information is not machine readable. It needs the human hand to come in and help do the translation for the computer, which is sometimes we could be really saving from ourselves and be spending it being more creative. How we can have AI help us in this situation? We know that the digital product passport is not gonna be only static data. We need to have everything machine readable, so all the processes during the building life cycle get automated, and we can have regulatory compliance anytime. In that way, we're going to introduce two simple concepts that explain how we can have AI be helpful in this situation. First, we can have AI be used as a translator. Instead of having us do all the manual work to extract the data from the PDFs and have it integrated into our systems, we can have AI do the job for us. First, we have it see the documents and understand what the content is. Second, we have extraction. It extracts all the data and all the data that we need for the project, not every piece of information, just to keep it more efficient. And step three, mapping. We can have all this information mapped into standards, so we enhance the collaboration and being understood by every single stakeholder during the building life cycle. But is AI ready for this era? I'm sure that everyone here had your own personal battles with AI in your everyday life. And it's the same for me as well. We are going to see if AI is ready. The answer for me is still not yet. But what we can do in order to help us get one step closer into this new reality is three simple steps. First of all, we can have it fed with the standards. That means that our AI assistant can have all the information from the regulations, the digital product passport, the CPR, ISO, any kind of information that we want to integrate into a single source of truth. We can have it fed with it so we can have a better base and avoid hallucinations, because we cannot relate and we cannot be using hallucinations in the new era where everything needs to be clear and structured. Second, we have the pattern recognition. Each PDF document from the manufacturer is standardized and the information is supposed to be seen in a very specific way. But still, different PDFs from manufacturer to manufacturer can have different fonts, coloring, or different shapes that make it very hard for the computer to understand, and also for the AI. So if we train it to be able to do the pattern recognition, we enhance this ability to be able to avoid the hallucination and extract the data correctly. And third, we can go even one step further and have error detection step in the game. That means that when we extract information, we can do the double check and make sure that all the information is exactly as it should be, the values are exactly as they should be, and everything is how it should be. This is exactly what my team and I had in mind in Tilco Advisors while creating this new platform, which is still in beta mode. And it's doing exactly what we've been talking about in the past few minutes. We have the file loaded in the system, and we can audit the product, extract all the information, and have it mapped straight into the standards and into IFC, promoting machine readability and not having us to do this work. All the manual work gets turned into a simple review session. We're not trying to replace the engineer or the stakeholder who is responsible for this. We just want to make their life a little bit easier and have them review instead of having to do all the manual work. Yeah, it's still running. I think I should, yeah. Okay. All right. I think we should let it play till the end, I think. All right. Okay. Now we can move? No? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So, this implementation sounds really interesting, but what are the benefits that we get from it? It's always the question that arises first. First of all, it depends on who the stakeholder is. The whole industry gets benefited by automation, but each stakeholder has their own benefit. First of all, for the architect, they get verified data that cuts through the simple danger that is always lurking, greenwashing. This is also the target for the digital product passport, to protect the industry from information that is invalid and inconsistent. For the designer, they can have all their compliance checks and the model checks be done much faster and integrate the data without the need of human intervention. And for the manufacturer, they have BIM-ready data that they can provide straight to their clients. And this is giving them a very big opportunity to step further from their competitors and have market advantage among them. The problem is, though, this is very nice to do for one product or two products. But as we said in the beginning, when we have a very large project that has lots of products and structural elements, if we do this, we're basically creating a library that has all the books neatly stacked between each other, but it's still very, very hard to navigate. So I don't want to go through a whole library. I want to have the information straight into me, because when someone is at the site and there is an emergency happening, we need to have information as fast as possible. So we're introducing the second concept of the AI use in the industry, which is turning this library into a question straight into the building. What that means is that we can replace all the filtering and all the file repositories that we have to go through in order to find the information we're looking for, with just simplifying and asking a question using natural language into machine interoperability. This is exactly what Louis Sampler, our colleague, had, and he provided us his platform for the demonstration purposes. He is doing exactly this. We're loading the IFC model. It understands all the structural elements and the products that are inside. It even matches into an EPD, that's the best one for carbon emissions, into the system. They have a nice structure. And then we have the chat, where we can directly ask the building a question, instead of having to go through every single piece of information to find what we're looking for. This is really helping us minimize the time and make decision-making much faster and more efficient. This is conversational intelligence. It is automatically matching the EPD, as we said earlier, and it's also promoting the fact that every piece of information that gets out of the system is not to be trusted 100%. When we are changing something in the structural integrity of the building, of course, the engineer needs to go through it to review. So we cannot trust the whole thing just by itself. Also, it's recommending us different products that we could swap in order to minimize and reach our goals. If it's carbon efficiency, if it's structural integrity, we have all the answers at hand. Shall I go to the next slide, please? Thank you. The benefits of having this machine readability and being able to ask the building a direct question. The first, most simple one is that you don't need to have technical expertise to do that. Any stakeholder, just by having authorization and no technical expertise, they can find the questions they're looking for. They don't need to go through manuals. They don't need to have any single knowledge about how the software works, because it's just natural language. Second, we have actionable insights, and the workflow is optimized. Oh my. And this got me thinking that this could be also a great tool for the people who are now stepping into the industry. Many students really struggle to get into the industry, especially this digital world, because it's not taught in universities. So maybe some AI can help us into have the students understand what happens when we change a product in the building, what happens when we change the structural element in the building. We can have also their critical thinking be much easier to understand and improve, because they don't have to go through all the manual calculations. They have only to ask a simple question to a building. The rising question always remains, though. All this information sounds nice, and the concepts sound very promising. But the question is, who owns the data flow? Who carries the liability if something goes wrong? These are both questions, and the governance of this problem are thoughts that my co-worker, Petr, had in mind, and he's going to present to you right after. So I'm going to have to leave the floor now for Petr to join us. Is he here? Okay.